that is punishable, imprisonment is 10 years. But here section 400 provides that whoever habitually, whoever at any time after passing of that shall belong to a gang of persons. He belong to a gang of persons associated for the purpose of habitually committing the crime. Associated means what? Some relationship, some association. That is for the, with a gang of persons habitually committing the that is punishable with imprisonment for a term which makes him 10 years and shall be liable. Section 401 also says punishment for belonging to gang of thieves. Gang of thieves. All these acts were passed, all these provisions were incorporated in the Indian Penal Code. That is for checking of that is like suppression of thug, that is suppression of dacoity, suppression of thief. Property offense is a very serious offense. So that's why this section 401 provides whoever at any time after the passing of this act shall belong to any wandering or other gang of persons. You might have seen that wandering persons. Some persons, they are wandering for the purpose of committing theft. So here, if a person belong to any wandering group or a other gang of persons associated for the purpose of habitually committing theft of robbery and not being a gang of thugs, not being a gang, so far as thug is concerned, that is severe punishment. Thug or dacoit shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. 402 to assembling for purpose of committing the crime. You see how serious provisions are there. That is very serious nature. That is simply assembling for the purpose of committing the crime. That is also a punishment. Whoever at any time after passing of this act shall be one of 5 or more persons assembled. Shall be of 1 or more 5 persons assembled for the purpose of committing dacoity shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now, criminal misappropriation of property. What is criminal misappropriation? 403 provides dishonest misappropriation of property. Dishonest misappropriation of property. Whoever dishonestly, you know, that has been defined causing wrongful gain to somebody and thereby causing wrongful loss to another. That is dishonesty. Whoever what is wrongful gain? If a person gains a property for which he is not legally entitled to gain, then that is a wrongful gain. So losing wrongful loss, losing something where a person loses a property for which he is not legally entitled to lose, that is wrongful loss. So whoever dishonestly misappropriates or converts to his own use any movable property, dishonestly misappropriates or converts to his own use any movable property, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which is extended to 2 years or with fine or with both. Now illustrations will make you clear. A takes property belonging to Z out of Z's possession in good faith, believing at the time when he takes it that the property belongs to himself. Suppose A took a property, movable property, from the possession of Z in good faith, but believing at the time when he takes that the property belongs to himself. A is not guilty of theft. Here A is not guilty of theft. But if A, after knowing, after discovering the fact that the property which he had taken that property by mistake, dishonestly appropriates the property to his own use, he is guilty of an offense of under this section. Suppose somebody has parked his motorcycle at a particular place. Other motorcycles are parked there. The person believing that a particular motorcycle which are of similar color, similar make, he took another person's motorcycle. And when he took that motorcycle, he did not commit theft because in good faith he believes that the particular motorcycle belonged to him. But later he found that the motorcycle did not belong to him. It belonged to some other person. Thereafter he sold that property. So here that will be treated as criminal misappropriation, dishonest misappropriation. What he says? A takes property belonging to Z out of Z's possession in good faith, believing at the time when it takes it that the property belongs to himself. A is not guilty of theft. Here A is not guilty of theft because he had not dishonest, that is, he did not take dishonestly with intention of taking. But after discovering his mistake, dishonestly appropriates the property to his own use. Even he uses that property. He is guilty of the offense under this section. Another illustration, A being on friendly terms with Z goes into Z's library in Z's absence. A is in friendly relation with Z. He went to the library of Z in his absence and takes away a book without Z's express consent. Here, if A was under the impression that he had Z's implied consent to take the book for the purpose of reading it, he has not committed theft because A entered into the library of Z, who was his friend, and he took a book from that library, believing that he had implied consent of Z for taking that book, so that thereby he doesn't commit theft. But if A afterwards sells the book, for his own benefit, he is guilty of an offense under this section, that is 403. Dishonest misappropriation of property. A and B being joint owners of a horse. A and B are joint owners of a particular horse. A takes the horse out of B's possession, intending to use it because they are the joint owner. A took that horse for his own use. Here, as A has a right to use the horse, he does not dishonestly misappropriate it. But if he sells the horse and appropriates the whole proceeds to his own use, he is guilty of an offense of criminal dishonest misappropriation of property. Whoever dishonestly misappropriates or confers to his own use any movable property, so that is punishable under section 403. For this section, explanation 1, a dishonest misappropriation for a time only is a misappropriation within the meaning of this section. This illustration is also very clear. Sometimes you get this illustration and there is a direct question that what? A finds a government promissory note belonging to Z bearing a blank endorsement. Government promissory note that belonged to Z and there was blank endorsement. A, knowing that the note belonged to Z, places it with a banker as a security for a loan, intending at a future time to restore it. Intending that future time you restore it. He has committed an offense under this section. Explanation 2. A person who finds property not in possession of any other person and takes such property for the purpose of protecting it or for restoring it to the owner does not take or misappropriate dishonestly and is not guilty of an offense. For an example, you are passing, you are going on the road. You found a gold ring and you took that gold ring. What was your intention? To return that gold ring to the real owner. But you did not take any step to trace out the real owner and thereafter sold it. There this provision section 403 applicable. Suppose, but he is guilty of the offense above defined. If he appropriates it to his own use, when he knows or has the means to discovering the owner, when he has means to discover the owner, suppose he gave an advertisement in a newspaper to find out the real owner, to return that. After the advertisement, nobody turned up. So he sold. Here, no offense is committed. Because, or before he has used reasonable means to discover and give notice to the owner, if he sells that gold ring and converts that property for his own use, he commits the offense punishable under section 403 of the Indian Penal Code and has kept the property a reasonable time to enable the owner to claim it. What are reasonable means or what is reasonable time in such a case is a question of fact. What is question of fact? Each and every case is to be considered separately, whether proper care had been taken, reasonable search had been a reasonable time he waited, or he took reasonable means to find out the real owner. That is to be considered. on considering the evidence and facts and circumstances of each case separately. It is not necessary that the finder should know who is the owner of the property or that any particular person is the owner of it. It is sufficient if at the time of appropriating it, he does not believe it to be his own property or in good faith believe that the real owner cannot be found. So this is illustration. A finds a rupee on the high road, not knowing to whom the rupee belongs. A picks up the rupee. Here A has not committed the offense defined in this section because it is very difficult to trace out the real owner of 1 rupee. Or if you say for a 500 rupee note which was lying on the road, somebody picks up it. So thereby he doesn't commit any offense. A finds a letter on the road containing a banknote. From the direction and contents of the letter, he learns to whom the note belongs. That is, there is a letter, somebody's name is there. He appropriates the note. He is guilty of an offense under this section because he did not take any step to trace out the person whose name was there in the letter. A finds a check payable to bearer. He can form no conjecture as to the person who has lost the check, but the name of the person who has drawn the check appears. He knows that this person can direct him to the person in whose favor the check was drawn. He appropriates the check without attempting to discover the owner. He is guilty of an offense of this section. A sees J drop his purse with money in it. A sees while going on the road found that the money purse of J was dropped. A picked up that money purse with the intention of restoring it to J, but afterwards changed his mind and appropriated the money. He has committed an offense under this section. A finds a purse with money not knowing to whom it belongs. He afterwards discovers that it belongs to J and appropriates it to his own use. A is guilty of the offense punishable under section 403 of the Indian Penal Code. That is dishonest misappropriation of property, that is punishable under section 403. A finds a valuable ring not knowing to whom it belongs. A sells it immediately without attempting to discover the owner. A is guilty of an offense under this section. Now section 404, dishonest misappropriation of property purchased by deceased person at the time of his death. This is one section which makes a person liable who appropriates the property which is attached to the dead body of someone. That is section 400. Because suppose an accident took place. In that accident, a person X died. He was wearing a gold ring. Z came and took that gold ring. What offense he committed? Did he commit the offense of theft? The answer is no. Because when in a dead body, when any property, that ring was in the finger of that dead body, of that person who is dead, that was not under the possession of anybody. So theft is an offense against possession. So that's why legislature had made a specific provision in section 404 of the Indian Penal Code that whoever dishonestly misappropriates or converts to his own use property, knowing that such property was in the possession of a deceased person at the time that person's deceased, death, and has not since been in possession of any person, and when whoever appropriates, dishonestly appropriates, causing wrongful gain to himself, wrongful loss to another, dishonestly appropriates or converts to his own use property, knowing that such property was in the possession of a deceased person at the time of that person's decease, and has not since been in possession of any person legally entitled to such possession, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. And if the offender at the time of such person's decease was employed by him as a clerk or servant, the imprisonment may extend to 7 years. That means whoever dishonestly that misappropriates any property from a dead body, knowing that dead body and has not since been any possession of any other person, his relatives was not there, that was not in possession of any of his relatives legally entitled to such possession, then he shall be punished with imprisonment up to, which may extend to 3 years. But if he is a clerk or a servant, somebody is a clerk or servant of that person who is dead, from the dead body of that person, if any property was misappropriated by that clerk or servant of that person, then the punishment is up to 7 years. Now, criminal breach of trust. It is a very, very important provision. Most of the time you get various problems regarding criminal breach of trust. What is trust? What is criminal breach of trust? Whoever being in any manner, always, whoever being in any manner, in any way, entrusted with property or with any dominion of property, two things. Whoever being in any manner entrusted with property or a dominion of the property, dishonestly misappropriates or converts to his own use that property. Dishonestly, this is applicable when some persons, they are doing some financial transaction. Suppose money, government money is in the hand of somebody. He has been entrusted with that money to deposit in a bank or in a particular account, and he appropriates. This section 405 is attractive. Whoever in any manner entrusted with property or dominion in the property. What is dominion in the property? Suppose your friend took your motorcycle that for use and to go to a particular place. He took your motorcycle in good faith, you gave their motorcycle, and he took that motorcycle and sold it. Then this section criminal breach of trust will come. What it says? Whoever, because there is an entrustment. Suppose you entrusted, you gave a particular thing to hand over, to give that particular thing in your house or to a particular person. And he, instead of handing over that property to that person, appropriated, sold that property. So that the criminal misappropriation is applicable. Whoever being any manner entrusted with or dominion over any property dishonestly misappropriates, dishonestly misappropriates, or converts to his own use. Not only, even if he uses that, but dishonestly misappropriates or converts that property for his own use, or dishonestly uses or disposes of that property in violation of a direction of law prescribing the mode in which such trust is to be discharged. Entrusted with property, dominion with property, either appropriates or convert that property into own use, or dishonestly uses or disposes of that property in violation of the direction in the law in which manner that is to be used, or that is to be disposed of, that is to be trust is to be discharged, or of any legal contract. There is a legal contract that somebody will discharge or give that property to use that property in a particular manner. Legal contract, either expressed or implied, which he has made touching the discharge of such trust, or willfully suffers any other person to do, commits criminal breach of trust. It is criminal breach of trust. Explanation 1. A person being an employer of an established, whether exempted under Section 17 of the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provident Fund Act 1952 or not, who deducts the employee's contribution from the wages payable to the employer for credit to the Provident Fund or Family Pension Fund established by any law for the time in force, shall be deemed to have committed, deemed to have been entrusted with the amount for the contribution so deducted by him and if he makes default in payment of such contribution to the said fund in violation of said law, shall be deemed to have dishonestly used the amount of the said contribution in violation of a direction of law as aforesaid. Because under the provident fund, provident fund or family pension fund, if an employer is entitled to deduct some amount from the salary of a particular person, and you will also contribute to the provident fund amount. If he doesn't deposit that money in the concerned fund, concerned account, that will be deemed that he has used that property for his own use. It has dishonestly used the amount of the said contribution in violation of the direction of the law. He used it. That is deemed. Even if that money is with him, it is deemed that he has used that fund violation the direction of law. So that in such case, this criminal breach of trust is applicable as per section 405. 406, the punishment. Now, expansion to a person being an employer who deducts the employee's contribution from the wages payable to the employee for credit to the employee's state insurance fund. Similarly, if a person being an employer, he deducts money from the deducts any amount from the salary of his employee to deposit the employee state insurance fund. State Insurance Corporation established under the Employee State Insurance Act 1948 shall be deemed to have been entrusted with the amount. It shall be deemed that he had been entrusted with that amount of the contribution so deducted by him, and he will makes default in the payment of such contribution to the said fund in violation of the said act, shall be deemed to have dishonestly used the amount of the said contribution in violation of a direction of law as opposed. Because this criminal breach of trust will be applicable if a person in any manner who has been entrusted with the property or in any dominion with the property in any manner, if he converts that property for his own use, misappropriates that property for his own use, or dishonestly uses or disposes of that property in violation of the direction of the law in which, as per which, he is required to discharge his trust. If he violates that provisions of law, then he is liable for the criminal breach of trust. Two explanations are made it clear. If an employer who deducts the provident fund money, contributed the provident fund money, and doesn't deposit, and then it shall be deemed that he has appropriated it. That is, he had not discharged the duty as per law in respect of that money. Similarly, an employer who has deducted money to deposit in state insurance fund, if he doesn't deposit to the as per the direction, as per the law required by the law within time, then it will be deemed that he has dishonestly used the same. Illustration will make it clear. A being executor to the will of a deceased person, dishonestly disobey the law which direct him to divide the effects according to the will and appropriate them to his own use, he has committed criminal breach of trust. Who is an executor of a will? Suppose a will has been made. What is will? Will is a declaration of a person that how his property will be given to some distributed, or who will get his property after his death. That is will. But a will is executed as per the provisions of the Indian Succession Act. And a person is appointed an executor of the will. A duty is cast on the executor to carry out the terms and to give effect to the terms and conditions of the will. Suppose X is the executor of the will, and he had been directed to distribute the property of a deceased person among these certain persons according to the direction in the will. But instead of doing that, he appropriated that property. Then this criminal breach of trust is applicable. B. A is a warehouse keeper. A is a warehouse keeper. Z going on a journey entrusts his furniture to A. So if a warehouse keeper, somebody Z going on because Z went on journey and he entrusted his furniture to A under a contract that it shall be returned on payment of a stipulated sum of warehouse room. A dishonestly sells the goods. He has committed criminal breach of trust. A residing in Calcutta is agent of Z residing in Delhi. A is residing in Calcutta. He is agent of Z residing. A is the agent of Z who is Delhi. There is an express or implied contract between A and Z that all sums remitted by Z to A shall be invested by A according to Z direction. That is, as per Z direction, A will, whatever money he will receive, he will invest that money. Z remitted lakh rupees to A with direction to A to invest the same in company's paper. A dishonestly disobey the direction and employs the money in his own business. A has committed criminal breach of trust. But if A, in the last illustration, Z gave some money to A, not dishonestly, but in good faith, believing that it will be more for Z's advantage to hold share in Bank of Bengal, disobeyed Z direction, and buy share in the Bank of Bengal for Z's instead of buying company's paper. They had directed A to and gave some. They had given some money and with a direction to A to invest it in a particular company paper. But J believed that it will deposit that money in a particular bank that will fetch more income, that will give more income. But it did so. There it will not be treated as criminal breach of trust. A revenue officer is entrusted with public money. This is, most of the public servants commit this offense. A revenue officer is entrusted with public money and is either directed by law. Law directs many officials to collect money and to deposit the money in a particular fund, particular account. A revenue officer is entrusted with public money and is either directed by law or bound by a contract express or implied with the government to pay into a certain treasury. He was required to deposit in a treasury all the public money which he holds. A dishonestly appropriate the money. He has committed criminal breach of trust. A carrier is entrusted by J with property to be carried by land or by water. A dishonestly misappropriated the property. He has committed criminal breach of trust. 406. That is punishment for criminal breach of trust. Whoever commits criminal breach of trust shall be punished with imprisonment either detention or for a term which may extend to 3 years or with both. This is criminal, simply, but criminal breach of trust by public servant and this agent, that is more punishment is there. 407 says criminal breach of trust by carrier, etc. Because more trust is there of the public on carrier. So if a carrier commits criminal breach of trust, the punishment extends to 7 years. Whoever being entrusted with property as a carrier, firefinger, or warehouse keeper commits criminal breach of trust in respect of such property shall be punished with imprisonment of either detention or for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall be liable to fine. 408 also, that is whoever being a clerk or servant or employed as a clerk or servant, not a government servant. Whoever being a clerk or a servant, employed and being in any manner entrusted in such capacity with property or with any dominion of property, either a clerk or servant who has been entrusted with property or dominion of property, commits criminal breach of trust in respect of the property shall be punished with imprisonment for detention which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable. This is applicable to private clerks, private servants. 409 says criminal breach of trust by public servant or by banker, merchant or agent. 3 things: government servant, public servant, banker, merchant or agent. Whoever being in any manner entrusted with property or with any dominion over property in his capacity of a public servant, with a public servant that has been defined in the Indian Penal Code, or in any way by his business as a banker, even a bank clerk, bank manager, merchant, factor, broker, attorney or agent. Attorney here is an advocate, agent, even factor, broker, etc. They do some factor or brokers are the persons they do business transaction. Commits criminal breach of trust in respect of that property shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment for either detention for a term which may extend to 10 years. That is 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Thank you all. In the next class, we will discuss the remaining provisions, that is of the receiving of stolen property. Thank you all.